Hello and welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host, GB. It's a special episode. Normally I speak to a wrestler, but I'm going to switch up a little bit. Today's guest is actually undefeated, currently at 4-0, mixed martial artist and former Division 1 wrestler from Arizona State University, future UFC superstar. It's going to happen. Please welcome Austin, the Ace Clayton. Austin, how you doing today, mate? You all good?
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me on.
No problem at all, mate. Thank you for coming on. I know you're currently busy, you're on this journey. Your YouTube channel is it's brilliant. Such a great insight, not just to your fighting career, but your life, who you are as a person, and just it's brilliant, mate. I really gravitate towards you as a person. But before sort of I discuss the ins and outs of it, I want to sort of rewind the clocks just a little bit, and I want to know what initially drew you into MMA.
Man, honestly, since being a little kid, I've always been interested in it, and I used to always go downstairs and watch my dad. He'd be watching like the very first UFC fights, and it just always intrigued me. He would always ask me like, "Is this something you would want to do?"
Hmm.
And growing up wrestling, I knew that that was the best base. He would always show me like all the top wrestlers dominating in the divisions, and so I knew I had a great base. And I've always had a chip on my shoulder, man, because I've been very fortunate to come from a great family and live an amazing life
Yeah.
with great support from all angles. And I've always had that chip on my shoulder just to show that uh, just because I've had a very great life does not mean I'm soft. Does not, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just hard work and dedication, man. That's just what it comes down to. And I come from from good blood. My dad is a warrior himself, man. He's just an incredibly hard worker, someone who built it from the ground up. And I just wanted to show that it don't come far from him. And I just wanted to live out both of our dreams because this is
Mm.
something that he would have done if it was something when he was coming up.
I respect that. So I know one of your opponents tried to mock you for that, sort of everything being handed to you at Jackson, your third
Yeah.
fight, and yeah,
Yeah.
kind of mocking you
By the way,
for it. You didn't hold back with him either, and obviously you got the result. You put him in his place. So it's that. Some people want to sort of go at you for it, how you're raised, but at the end of the day, you're going to back up in the ring, aren't you? Well, it's weird saying that. The octagon. I'm
yeah.
saying to say in the ring.
It's something that I never really understood because I feel like that's just the goal of life, right? Be able to give your kids a better opportunity than you had, right? So for me, obviously it starts at a different level, but the goal remains the same, right? I want to give my kids 10 times more than what I had.
Yeah.
And my dad gave me 10 times more than what he had. My dad came from a trailer park. He was one of seven in a single bed trailer with parents that, were separated but were too poor to be able to, go get their own places. So it it's just I think that's just the goal of life. And some people look at it and have envy, but then you have other people who look at it and it inspires them. So that's not really up to me on how they decide to take it, but
Mhm.
it could definitely be a great inspiration if you choose to take it that way, or you could
Yeah.
you can use it and it can fuel the hatred, and that's okay too, because if you got a problem with me, then you got to settle it inside the cage. So
Oh, that's it, mate. Like I feel, yeah, mate. I'm gonna have zero problems with you. Big fan of you in the cage, so we're gonna get on. That's the main thing.
I don't want no smoke with you in it.
But no, you're good, mate. The YouTube channel, I think it's very inspirational. As I just touched on it. Your most recent fight. So I want to talk about that. The win that you had at Cage Fury Fighting Championships on the UFC Fight Pass, which is awesome exposure for you against Andrew Huckabee. So it was due to a doctor stoppage. The match itself can be seen on your YouTube channel, but tell me about your overall thoughts going into the match and after the match when the result was announced.
So I got the call on 10 days notice. My manager called me and I was about like 195 pounds. So I was 25 pounds over on 10 days notice.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that we've been wanting to fight since the beginning of my pro career. We've been trying to fight him over and over again, and he would not take the bait. But then he had an opponent fall out last second, and I think he knew that I was heavy. I asked for a catch weight, he wouldn't give me a catch weight, so I think he thought he had like the chips on his side.
Hmm.
But there was no way I was gonna miss this opportunity. He was 4-0, I was 3-0 on UFC Fight Pass. I knew it was a great opportunity to get my name out there, and so yeah, I was super excited for the opportunity. The biggest challenge was making the weight, which surprisingly enough, it was my easiest weight cut to date. I only had to spend like 15 minutes in the heat exposure, so
Yeah.
that was good. Um, the fight itself was super exciting, and I
Mhm.
wanted it to be that way because first time being on UFC Fight Pass, I wanted everybody to know who Austin Clayton was and what I bring to the table. And I think it was super exciting. I dealt with a little bit of adversity early on in the fight,
Yeah, there's a
and
slight knock, wasn't it, at the beginning? Yeah.
yes, yep. I heard him early, and then I was like, man,
Mm.
UFC Fight Pass. Imagine finishing this guy first 2 minutes. I got a little overzealous, and I paid the price for that. But I got back up. I showed that I'm able to deal with adversity, and I pushed through, and I ended up getting a doctor stoppage. I wish that I could have got the like a TKO or
Hmm.
submission or anything or something like that, and that was gonna be my goal going into that third round. But you know, he looking at the footage, you could tell like he didn't want to be the one to say I'm done, but at the same time, I talked to the doctor after, and she was like, he kept saying like, if you think it's bad, like we can stop it. Like if you like he didn't want to say I'm done, but
Yeah.
he didn't want to keep going.
Yeah, if
So
someone gave him the chance to stop it, he just
yes,
would stop it.
yes, and but no, he was really tough, man. It was he had a lot going on the line, and he represents his whole town, and he's a big deal back where he comes from. So
Mm.
he fought really hard, and I respect him a lot. Honestly, he fought harder than I thought. Most people usually, cower down a lot earlier, and I hit him with some
Mm.
really good shots. I hit him with
Oh,
a good
some of your
head kick.
elbows, mate. Bloody hell, some
Yeah,
of those elbows.
yeah. I hit him with the whole kitchen sink, and he just kept on standing there. So going into that third round, we were gonna go look for a submission, and just be strategic and a lot smarter instead of just, you know, trying to throw the fire at him and just see what he could take. Yeah, it was a great experience, man, and after the fight, I was happy. I wanted to get one more in before the end of the year, but it didn't end up happening. But I was happy to get 3 fights in 6 months, and I'm super excited for what's to come this year.
Mm. When's your next fight? If you know, do you have a date that you can sort of announce yet?
So right now, I'm in talks. Maybe there's a couple different dates that we're talking about right now with a couple different opponents, but the most exciting one would be March 7th versus a former Ultimate Fighter. So
Oh,
it
sweet.
would be a big step up, man. He has over 3 times as many fights as me. Uh, a great step up in competition, but I love the matchup. I think it's a great matchup, and if we can get him to say yes,
Hmm.
then
You're not going to
we'll
shy away
probably
from it. You're going to be up for it. But yeah, get that book now. Let's do it. Let's
yes,
start training. I mean, you're already training non-stop. You know, the fact that you're actually
yes.
on your way, the listeners might not know. So it's 8 o'clock for you, about 8 or 9, and you're
It's
actually on your
nine
way to
o'clock.
start
Yeah,
training now.
yeah.
That's what I'm so grateful for your time anyway. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing when it's announced and just seeing you document it on your YouTube channel. If those listeners aren't aware of the YouTube channel that you have, and I would highly recommend them, where can they find it, Austin?
It's Austin Clayton official on YouTube, and that's where my whole goal behind this whole thing is I know it might not pop off early, but I know where I'm going. I'm gonna go to the UFC. I'm gonna be in the UFC. I'm gonna be in the top 15. I'm gonna continue to climb the ranks. Hopefully, one day become a champion.
Hmm.
And my whole goal is just to document the journey up because you know I look at whenever I was coming up, like whenever I was an amateur and everything. Man, I find these fighters and I want to learn more about them, but like it almost becomes like you feel like you can't relate to them because like for example like Hamzat Chimaev, one of my favorite fighters when I was coming up,
Hmm.
it's like I couldn't find nothing new. It was all, or I couldn't find nothing old. I could only find the new stuff of when he's already in the UFC. Like I want to see the stuff of like how did he do his weight cuts whenever he was 2-0 as a professional? How did he do that? You know what I mean? So on and so forth. And that's the experience I'm trying to provide for everybody. So, when I make the UFC and they want to go learn about me, they get to see from the ground up, from the very first fight. So,
For the Austin Clayton documentary that comes out in a few years for the UFC on the UFC the app
oh,
or
gonna be
ESPN or
amazing.
wherever, mate. I'm looking forward to it, man. We can include this clip as well. You driving to talk to me, you know. I was there on
Absolutely.
this journey.
Absolutely.
But no, it's good, man. Just a few more questions, mate. So, because I know
The
you're quite
first believers
busy.
are always the most important, man.
Damn right, mate. Damn right. I love that. How do you mentally prepare for a fight? So, just going in, how do you sort of manage your pre-fight nerves?
Man, honestly, I would have to attribute a lot of it to my faith in God. That helps me out so much, man. It just gives me a peace knowing that I can do all I can do, but ultimately it's in his hands. And then outside of that, man, it comes down to preparation. I feel like people always like they want to fake it till they make it and like get this fake confidence, but that doesn't come from you can't just like put that in your head. You know what I mean? Where I get my confidence is my work. I work harder than everybody. Yesterday I did 3 sessions. Today I got 3 sessions planned. Nobody's working harder than me. And I know that, whenever it goes into the fight, the best chances they got is getting a lucky punch or just a lucky scramble because, the deeper we get into the fight, the better I'm going to get. Just for example, that Marab fight this last weekend, that's just a testament to hard work because Umar is really the better fighter, skill
Yeah,
wise. He has more skills and more areas. He can fight on his feet. He has skills everywhere. But Marab is just an absolute dog, and he's just willing to go to those deep waters that nobody else is willing to go to. And that's a testament to hard work. That's a controllable factor, right? You
yeah,
can control your conditioning, how many hours you're going to put into it. So that's where I get my confidence, man. My mental preparation comes strictly from my physical work. Uh, I just know nobody works like me, and I
mm,
learned that from my dad, 100%.
yeah. No, no, I'll respect that, mate. I'll get that. Um, what advice would you give to any aspiring MMA fighters out there? I know you've got the YouTube documentary series, on your channel, and people can see what you're doing. But sort of just any quick advice for any listeners out there, they're thinking about getting into it, but any cautions or just any advice that you've taken on with you since you've gotten into it.
My best advice would definitely be to find first and foremost find a good team around you that believes in your skill sets. Like everybody, I just made the move down to Kill Cliff. What was it? I believe it was 2 Septembers ago. Not this last September, but the September prior.
Yeah,
And I didn't make that move at the beginning of my career because, I wasn't ready for a gym like Kill Cliff. I would just be in here surviving every day. Even now, even at where I'm at now, we have great partners and I'm learning every day. I win some, I lose some, but I'm getting better every day. But if I would have came in the beginning of my career, I wouldn't have got no better. I would have just been a dummy for everybody else. Early in my career, I found a good team that was able to focus on developing my skill sets and a team that believed in me. I found some good coaches like Junior Lopez. That's my boxing coach, and that I'd say that's probably one of the first coaches I've ever had in my whole entire life that truly poured his all into me. And I'm forever grateful. And still to this day, even though he's out in Arizona and I'm in Florida, we still talk almost every single day. I still bring him out to my fights. We keep that relationship. We work on different areas. And I'll be going out to he runs a camp out in Washington for David Benavidez, the boxer. So he'll work with all those guys and his whole team, and I'll probably be going out there doing some boxing camps to sharpen up on my skills in boxing. So first and foremost, get a good team uh, that believes in you and supports you. You got to work hard. You got to put your head down. You can't like the media. You got to understand the business side, but the business doesn't come unless you're winning. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
could document all this YouTube stuff, but nobody's gonna care if I'm not winning. You got to win, so you got to work hard. You can't count other people's pockets. You can't worry about what they're getting. This guy's getting an opportunity. I'm not. It don't matter. Just work hard. Put your head down. And allow time to do its thing, man. Patience is a virtue, man. It's something that people don't really respect, and me being one of those, it's hard because I want to be there now. I see how I do against some of the top level guys now, and I know I'm like, give me a certain matchup in the UFC right now, I could dominate some of those guys. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But we're preparing for the guy that's not the best matchup for me. You know what I mean? Because there are some matchups right now that I need to work on. I need to continue to grow and develop my skill set so I could be ready for anybody. Because once you get into the UFC, you're getting thrown into the wolves, and one day you could fight a striker, the next
Mhm.
day you fight a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Like you never know who you're gonna get, but you got to be ready for all of them.
Yeah, it's been that
And
opportunity, mate.
so
You
you
know, you
got to
can
be
get one
patient.
fight and then you're out, sort of thing, if it doesn't go your way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're even seeing rank guys get cut now, so it's like
Yeah,
nothing is
quite close.
promised. You got to be patient, but at the same time, you can't be scared to take risks either. That's like
Yeah,
it's like it's weird because like they contradict each other sort of, but like a lot of guys that I know, man, I know so many guys coming up who were so good, but they never took that risk. They're scared to lose their O. They're scared to go into a hard fight. And like for example, like imagine if I didn't take that 10-day notice fight because I was 25 pounds over. You got to take a risk. I knew I wasn't in my best shape. I knew I wasn't uh the best Austin Clayton, but I also knew that opportunities like this, like I won't be able to fight this kid unless it's a situation like this.
yeah,
10 days notice. I got to cut a lot of weight. I got a lot going against me. That's the only way I was going to be able to fight somebody like this. But now I get somebody who was 4-0 on my record, on my resume. and I smashed him, and now I'm gonna smash whoever comes next too, because I'm just continuing to get ready.
Yeah, that's it, man. What's your proudest moment in your undefeated MMA career so far? That's the key word, so far, because another 5 years is just going to be a list of
Oh,
achievements.
we're gonna build that resume for sure. We're gonna keep coming back to this podcast every time to tell everybody about it. I would probably say my first fight, man. My first fight as an amateur, actually.
Yeah,
It was definitely my proudest moment because, I felt so much pressure. That's the only time in all of my fights that I really felt real pressure. I knew the kid that I was fighting. He was a Division One wrestler as well. He's a black belt in judo. I think he was a brown or a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Just a very high level grappler. He's been training MMA his whole life. He had great skills in all the areas that I had, and part of me was very like annoyed that he even accepted the fight because I'm like, man, you think you could beat me? Like we've trained together, and I could beat him in wrestling, but I didn't have all the skills that I was taking a fight on like in my first 6 months. Like I didn't even. This guy's been training his whole life, so part of me was like annoyed. I was like, man, you think you could beat me? All right, like I'm a
yeah,
better wrestler than you. And I went in there with a lot of pressure. I went into his hometown just like I do every fight, and everybody was booing me and cheering against me, and all I could hear was my family. And I came out on that fight on top. That was my only decision fight. I immediately after the fight, man, I'm throwing up because it was just such an adrenaline dump. Like I was just I came in there wanting to fight, and he wanted to grapple and wrestle, and I wanted to just swing for the fences. Like I wanted to
yeah,
prove to everybody, like, look, I'm a fighter. I'm not no wrestler.
yeah,
I got mixed martial arts. I got all the skills.
yeah,
And yeah, I'm just really happy that I was able to come out on top in that fight. It was a really tough fight. It showed a lot about who I am, and that's something that gives me a lot of confidence going forward as well.
yeah. Nah, best man, best. Last question for you, mate, and then I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day, morning even. Austin, three dream dinner guests for your dream party. It doesn't have to be MMA related, but it's up to you because you're the host. It could be past or present. The people can be dead or alive, fiction, non-fiction. But three people, mate. It's tied up to you, but a quick reason as to why you want them there. Go for it.
Three people that I would
That
explain
you would
that again.
like to have at your dinner. So three dream
Okay.
dinner guests. So it's like a dream scenario.
Hmm. Man, that's really good. I would say, and it doesn't have to be just MMA.
No, doesn't have to be MMA. But if you want to keep it MMA, because we've been discussing it, entirely up to you, mate. But you're the host.
I'll open it up to a little bit of boxing as well. Uh, I'll go Floyd Mayweather. I'd say Roberto Duran, and then probably 500 feet. Zabit. I like Zabit,
Really?
man. Yeah, I really I love that style, man. He just had and I guess you could say like mystic. Like nobody really knows a lot about him. You
Nah.
just know that he's just a real certified ninja, bro. Like that guy's a killer.
Yeah. And when you do
I
see
would
him,
say
just
those
come
three.
wise
It's
with him.
definitely a different three, but
No, I
I feel
like
like
it.
Floyd, testament of hard work
Yeah.
and great defensive skill set. You got Roberto Duran, who's just one of the toughest, like, man, come from the mud, just like find a way, man, so skilled. And then Zabit, man, is just like he's just so well rounded. I feel like he had skills everywhere when it comes to MMA, and I feel like there's for him to be able to step away from the sport right before he really, you know, like some people don't even know who Zabit is, which is
Yeah.
crazy. And everybody who does know the sport of MMA knows how talented that guy was.
Mm.
And for him to be able to step away, I feel like he has a lot of wisdom and a great understanding for just life itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Some wicked answers.
I
I
think
like that, to be
a
a lot
fair.
of MMA people have actually transitioned into wrestling and it's
Yeah.
paid off. You've seen that with
My that's actually where I got my name from, dude. My dad and my mom were like huge pro wrestling fans, like WWF, and they named me after Stone Cold Steve
No
Austin.
way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. So it ended up working out, man. I ended up wrestling myself, and I definitely have the entertainment factor.
Yeah.
I think I do what I say I'm gonna do in MMA. Who knows? Maybe WWE will be my future. So
Oh, mate, honestly, the doors can be open. Like we've seen it now. It's just I think it can happen, mate. You've got the personality, you've got the charisma, and you're a natural athlete. So if you get bored of MMA, wrestling, mate, you're gonna be a success there. But Austin, Thank you so much for your time. Where can the listeners find you on social media if they want to keep up to date with your next fights and your MMA career in general?
You can follow me on Instagram on it's Clayton AUSCLAYTON. Same for Twitter, and then I have somebody running my TikTok, and I think the name is Austin Clayton Official. Austin Clayton. So same as my YouTube.
Wicked.
So yeah, that's where you can reach me.
I will put your social media handles in the description below. If the listeners out there can like this video, subscribe to the channel, give Austin Clayton a follow on his social media, that'd be great. Give me a follow also, see what I've got lined up for the next few weeks. But for now, everyone, take care. Boom.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time for What Do You Call It? Podcast.